Hi everyone, my name is Martina Clarke and I'm a modern matron within the National High Secure Healthcare Service for Women at Rampton Hospital. I'm here today to talk to Sue Widdowson, who's one of our team leaders on Topaz Ward, for the purpose of this month's Good News Story for Connecting Knots. I recently nominated Sue for a positive star, following some excellent feedback from Sue's ward manager, Lauren Wilkinson, about all the fantastic work she's been doing with her named patient, Kayleigh. So Sue, I've got a few questions to ask you today, if that's okay.
Yep.
So firstly, how did it feel to be nominated for a positive star?
I think it's always good to get recognition for work that you do. And I think when it's a positive star, just by the title itself, makes it feel that you're doing your job well. I didn't realise that the nomination was going to happen. And I think sometimes you do your job and to the best of your ability, but to be recognised is always a really good feeling. So yeah, and a pat on the back's always good, regardless of where you are in your career, and whatever level you're working at. So yeah, it was lovely. It was nice to get.
Brilliant. So can you just give us a brief overview of Kayleigh's presentation and behaviour when you took over as her named nurse?
Okay. Kayleigh was very distraught, very she'd had a lot of breakdowns in therapeutic relationships with her teams that she'd had previously, named nurses, associates and the like. She was constantly in some form of mechanical restraint. She was very hostile towards staff. There was several serious attempts of self-harm, and so that resulted in the mechanical restraints being in place for most of the time. She did not trust staff at all, and that impacted a lot on the interaction she had with staff as well. So it was quite a concern for me that was something I was having to go into and sort of try and erase all the bad experiences she'd had with previous perceived issues she had with staff, I'd like to say, because I think the staff that had worked with her before were good staff. It was just, there was a lot of conflict, and I think it's difficult when you're trying your best with a patient that then just sees you as just being a problem rather than helping with the solution. So it was a very challenging thing to actually face with her, to be fair.
So you mentioned a bit about the trust, and we know how important it is to develop our trust with our patients.
Yeah.
How did you go about doing that and nurturing that as part of your named nurse relationship?
I think we started very basically. I think initially we got to know each other, and I think to get to know Kayleigh, and you need to know sort of what prompts the behaviours that she does. So it was really sort of a really stripped back kind of relationship initially, and we had regular named nurse sessions, and we made sure that we did it as a proactive session rather than reactive, which is what she'd really experienced quite a lot of, because it was just always she was getting a session when she'd done something wrong, and I wanted to change it to it being a more proactive thing, so it wasn't, so we'd go in and we could talk without it being addressing anything, so we could just talk and have a session, an hour-long session, for her to tell me her problems rather than me saying what's going on and why have you done this. So it was really a very stripped back relationship initially.
And were there any particular obstacles that you needed to overcome?
There was a few things, because I was quite new to the ward. I'd only had a very limited experience with Kayleigh initially, and it would have been if I'd been moved to the ward or anything. So a big thing was, because she'd been such a challenging patient initially, the staff on the ward were still looking at Kayleigh as Kayleigh was. And that was part of my mission, as well as getting Kayleigh to trust us more, was to get the staff to look at Kayleigh differently. Because a very wise person once told me, if you treat somebody the same, how can you expect them to change? And that was something I worked with on the team, because as soon as she showed a sign of being agitated, they automatically escalated to what Kayleigh used to be. And I was saying, well, no, what we need to do is let's look at Kayleigh as she is now. So that was a big challenge, really. But also with Kayleigh herself, when she would escalate, it was sort of, we were trying to say to her, look, Kayleigh, in response to what you're doing, is this the level you need to go to? So there was that challenge as well. And to be fair, she responded really well to that.
And was there anything or anyone that helped you in your role in particular?
I've developed a good relationship with her family, which has been quite useful, really, because they quite voluntarily gave me some of their insight in how she'd been in the past. And I do think sometimes when you've got the family on board, you can generate a better relationship with your patient as well, because you become part of the team then, and they're then part of the team. So if they see, when they see an improvement, it then becomes they want to get more involved, and so she's had a lot of these purple virtual visits, and it's been really good because they've been quite supportive, and I've tried to attend them whenever I possibly can so that we keep that link together. But they've also felt quite comfortable in order to ring me at work if they're concerned about anything. So it's been quite a good team work all together, really, with the family included.
Super. That's great. I'm now going to ask Kayleigh some questions herself about you and your approach, and it'd be really nice if you can stay on the line and sit in and hear what she's got to say about you and the care she's received from you.
Yeah.
So, Kayleigh, thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us this afternoon. First question that I want to ask you is, what is it about Sue's approach as named nurse that you found most helpful?
Basically, she didn't do it like everyone else. Like everyone else just sort of reads your notes and think they know you. Well, as Sue actually got to know me before committing, you know what I mean?
Okay, and how has Sue made a difference to you and your care?
She's put that trust in me, which has given me the confidence to actually want to do well, to want to achieve stuff.
And you're achieving an awful amount, aren't you? You're doing really, really well.
I'm hoping to be out this year.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So, Kayleigh, can you think back? What were the challenges along the way and how did you overcome these?
A lot of my challenges were more related to self-harm.
Okay.
And the way Sue helped me was she would sit and talk to me and try and figure out what we could do to notify people when I was feeling a certain way. So I've got flashcards. I don't have them on me at the minute because I've not got any pockets. But we did some flashcards, so they've got a picture on the front, a dragon in different colours. And on the back of them, they've got a little bit like, says a little bit like I'm settled or I'm struggling or things like that. And we're doing a weight loss chart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And the last question is, what are you most looking forward to about your future?
Moving on, having a family, being with my family, because there's a lot more to life than being in hospital.
There absolutely is. And I just wanted to say, obviously it was myself that put Sue forward for a positive star based on the feedback that we'd got from Lauren. But Lauren did say if I could, I'd really like to put Kayleigh forward as well for a positive star, for all the hard work and that she's made, you know, with Sue. So well done to you. It's great to see all the progress that you've made, and all the best of luck for your future.
Thank you.
I hope that was nice, Sue, to hear some reflections from Kayleigh.
It was.
Thank you once again for all your hard work and for everything that you're doing, and thanks for chatting to me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you
Thank
later.
you.